Spirit, soul, body made whole. Yeah, you restore what was broke. Every piece you take control. You don't leave me how I was before. Spirit, soul, body made whole. God, you restore what was broke. Yeah, you said it, so I know every word you uphold. You said it, yeah, I know. So room.
Hey, beautiful people. You are in the Sozo Room with Mikala. If this is your first time, welcome to the family. Here we believe that God cares about your spirit, your mind, your body, and your story. Today, we're going to be dealing with a very difficult topic. But before we dive into that, I want to take a second to just say that if you found this episode, I don't think it was by accident. I don't believe that it was a chance. I believe that God brought you here because it is time for you to finally heal from all of the wounds and heartbreak that your dad has caused you. The Holy Spirit is present and He's ready to move and heal all forms of brokenness. So settle in, grab yourself a cup of coffee, some tea or water, whatever your choice of comfort food, and let's stay here together. If you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them. I also want to say that if this podcast has ever encouraged you, challenged you, or made you feel less alone on your faith and healing journey, I would love for you to leave a rating and a review behind on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever platform you're hearing this on. It sounds small, but it's actually how this message gets to reach a bunch of people. So with every review, every share, every subscriber, every follow that we get, it expands the reach of this show. And that means more people get exposure to the content that we give on how they can live a wholesome life. Alrighties, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about fatherlessness and the father wound. This is going to be a 2-part series. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering, when is she going to get into the part where I heal from all of this? I got you. This is going to be part 2. But today, I want to take a slow pace and really explain to you what this wound is and what it's doing on the inside of you. Because a lot of you have been walking around with this wound, doing your day-to-day activities, whether you were able to function or not. But today, this is going to change, okay? The father wound is bigger than what most people realize. It is a global crisis. And I have the stats for you. So if you're in America, we're looking at 18.4 million children growing up in a household without a father. So essentially, that's like 1 in every 4 kids. And if you're in the Caribbean, then we're looking at a range between 25% to 60% of all households. These are big numbers. And if you've gotten this far, then I know for a fact that you are part of that statistic too. I want to spend some time talking about fatherlessness and what that looks like, because a lot of us have different interpretations, experiences, and definitions of what that is. It is not just a father who was never at home. This is why I want to cast a wide net, because your story may look different from another person's story, and I want you to feel seen. Okay? Like I said, fatherlessness isn't always a man walking out that door. It can be a man that is physically there but emotionally absent, and he's missing out on all the important moments. He's dismissing what matters to you, and he's not responding to your pain with comfort. And sometimes this is the hardest one to heal from, because people would tell you, well, at least your father was there. And even when you try to explain how this has impacted you in the worst way possible, then they hit you with, well, you should feel grateful that he was in the house. But please hear me when I say this. Presence and fathering are not the same thing. So let's not compare father wounds. I can tell you there are some cases where a father's absence does less harm than their presence, but it still cuts deep. Fatherlessness can look like a father who is harsh and critical or abusive, or a father who comes and goes, always apologizing, saying the right things, earning your trust over and over again, only to leave you hurt on multiple occasions. And because you want his love, and because you were constantly told that you have to honor your parents, you keep letting him back in, and that wound never heals. It can also be a father who provides financially but never expresses the love affirmation that you need. So you never hear, "I'm so proud of you," or "You mean the world to me," or "I love you so much." Provision alone is not enough. Children need emotional connection. It can also look like a father constantly putting you in a position to earn his approval. And sometimes this can look like pitting siblings against each other just to get the affirmation and congratulations from the father. And when you don't perform well, then you hear of all of the other things that your siblings are doing and how much you have failed. Many struggle with daddy issues or father wounds, and very often these emotional pains get dismissed or covered up. But today we're shining some light on it. If we're defining what a father wound is, it is an emotional, psychological, and spiritual injury that comes from an absent, inconsistent, or harmful relationship with a father or father figure. If you are a father, you have one of the most important roles you will ever have in your entire life. Your children look to you for security and validation, and to know whether or not this world that they live in is safe. So when that disconnection is missing or inconsistent, broken or harmful, it shifts something in your inner world. It does something to them internally. And that child doesn't think, well, something is wrong with my dad. They internalize it and they make it about themselves. And they quickly form beliefs. And that might look like, I am not worthy, I am invisible, men cannot be trusted, I need to protect myself at all costs from any form of rejection. And these beliefs don't just remain in the childhood. It follows them into their relationships, into the decisions that they make, and into their identity. And I'm going to be giving you a lot of studies and statistics to support this. Like I said, it is a global crisis. So studies show that children who grow up without an involved father are twice as likely to drop out of school, 4 times more likely to live in poverty, and are significantly more likely to struggle with anxiety, depression, and behavioral issues. How many of you are struggling with anxiety and depression? When we're looking at the psychological impact from a father wound, it is not just how you are, but there's a framework for it. And I'm going to put on my therapist hat for a second because I'm going to be using some terminologies, okay? Your early relationships became your blueprint. The way you experienced your father growing up became the template for how you understood relationships, for how you connected to people, and how you went about trusting people, and how you responded to closeness. Your body learned how to attach based on that experience. Now, there is something called the attachment theory. And what it shows is that when a father is absent, emotionally unavailable, or inconsistent, your nervous system doesn't just move on, it learns to adapt. And what we see forming is what we call insecure attachments. So instead of feeling safe in connections or in relationships, you learn one of 2 things. You either cling because you're afraid of losing people, or you withdraw because closeness does not feel safe. And sometimes you move between both, wanting the connection, but not trusting it when it's there. This doesn't stay in the childhood era. It doesn't just live in your past. It follows you and it shows up in your friendships. And you often question whether or not these people really like you or if they see value in you. In your romantic relationships, you either overgive, you overstay, or you pull back completely. And at work, your self-worth is usually tied to your performance. And this is a part I need you to sit with right now and really think about. There's 100% chance that this father wound is impacting your relationship with God. So all of the things that you're experiencing, the hesitation, the overthinking, the pulling back, the holding onto things tightly, it's not a form of weakness. This is how your nervous system learned to respond to the absence of a father. But it can be unlearned. It's not permanent. I want to go deeper into how this broken parent relationship can affect you. Okay? So I'm going to go through a list of them. Like I said, I'm casting a wide net because I want you to feel seen. The first one is identity confusion. You struggle to know who you are when you strip away what you do and the expectations that people have from you. This is because your identity was never formed on being seen. It was always formed on trying to be enough. So you perform, you achieve, you show up for everybody else. But if I were to ask you right now, tell me who you are. Who do you think you are? Who is God calling you to be? Yeah, it's going to be hard to give me a response. The next one is difficulty trusting others. You want to trust people, but something in you won't allow you to go that far. And this is because the person who was supposed to model safety in relationships with you was not consistent. So now you are alert, you read into everything, you wait for when certain things shift for you to say, well, I knew something was off about that person. You're always preparing for that moment when somebody pulls away. You're always expecting that disappointment to come. You are always 1 foot in and 1 foot out of precaution. Then there is the fear of abandonment and rejection. You don't just fear being left, you expect it. So you overgive, you overstay, and you overextend yourself, trying to hold on to something that never felt secure in the beginning. And this can look like perfectionism, people-pleasing, insecure attachments. You may consider yourself to be high maintenance. But if we look at the root of it all, you are wounded. The next part that gets affected is your self-esteem and your self-worth. There is this quiet belief that you carry that you are not enough. Not enough to be fully chosen. Not enough to be loved consistently. So because the affirmation that you needed in the beginning was never given, you're now struggling to see the value in who you are. And if anyone were to show up and say, you are worthy, you are loved, you deserve to exist and be in this space, it is hard for you to receive that. Some people may struggle with masculine and feminine identities. You were never shown what healthy masculinity or femininity looks like. So for men, whenever you shut down, it's often expressed as anger. Whenever you want to stand up for yourself, it's always met with violence. For some women, you may struggle to trust men and look for safety in the wrong places. It shows up also in the patterns that you form in relationships. So you keep finding yourself in the same kind of relationships with different people and having the same outcomes. Emotionally unavailable, inconsistent, hard to reach. And you're not doing that because you want to feel hurt. It's because you're still trying to find hope in relationships, hoping that you will get it right, that one day somebody would be emotionally available, that finally somebody might just be consistent in how they deal with you, in how they approach you. Some people may have difficulty with authority. Authority might feel complicated. You either become overly compliant to avoid conflict or resistant. You struggle to trust leadership because your first experience with authority was not safe. This is the one that I identify with the most. Hyper independence. You learn how to do life on your own, how to not need anyone, how to carry everything. And it looks like strength to a lot of people on the outside, but it is coming from a hurting and broken place. It took me some time to adjust in my relationship to not do everything on my own. Like, Mikala, you have help. Allow that person to help you. There is also the unmet need for validation. You wanted to be seen, to be known, to be affirmed. And when that moment never came, it left a hunger on the inside of you. And then there is still this desire where you want to be seen. You want somebody to say that I'm proud of you. You want somebody to say that you matter. And then there is this constant search for approval. So you chase it through many forms, through achievement, through perfectionism, being everything for everyone. Because if you can be that, then probably some way somebody could just give you what you've been chasing all the time. There is building your identity around your success. So you built a life on your titles, your accomplishments, your recognition, but it still doesn't feel enough because that is not what your heart is desiring right now. It is wanting to feel worthy of love. There is also the emotional disconnection that you feel in relationships. Closeness feels hard, but there's also a great risk that comes with feeling vulnerable. And that's a hard place to be in. So you let people in, but only to a certain point. And you wonder why relationships feel distant, even when people are right there. It's because you're not connecting. So with all of what I just said, there are some of you that came to that realization or is coming to that realization of how much the state of your relationship with your dad affected you. And it's bringing a lot of grief, a lot of anger. And anytime you see someone having the best relationship that they have with their dad, or they talk about how much they are daddy's princess, or how much their father is in their corner, or the big one, Father's Day, you are always triggered. If it falls on a Sunday, you don't go to church. And if you do, you are so disconnected from the service. I remember my days leaving service to go and cry. It is a hard thing to deal with. And it changes your personality in so many ways. And a lot of us are calling these wounds personality traits, and they're not. I want to end with this as well. Again, more statistics. Studies show that 75% of adolescents in mental health clinics come from a fatherless home. Okay, guys? That's a crisis. So what you're feeling, it makes sense. But for some of you, it goes even deeper. It's generational, especially if you're in the Caribbean, because it traces back all the way to slavery days, where families were torn apart and fathers were forcefully taken away from their children. And that kind of wound doesn't disappear. It gets passed down generation after generation. And we see the fruit of it right now. So now that you have an understanding of how a father wound is presenting itself in your life, the question becomes, how can you actually heal? How do you unlearn what your heart has carried for years? How do you trust again? How do you feel safe again? How can you experience God in a true and real way? Well, that's what we're going to be looking at on the next episode. So I'll see you next week.